Okay, so before we start the Bhagavad Gita, we'll start with the Mangalacharan prayers. So every week when we start on page 1 of the Bhagavad Gita, there are these prayers. We'll chant them together. So you can please join me as we chant. Okay, page 1. On the introduction, please. Yeah, on the introduction. Everyone follow? So please join me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We'll chant prayers to Srila Prabhupada right here in the back of the Bhagavad Gita, who has given this beautiful explanation of the Bhagavad Gita. So those who know can join me. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's get started right into the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita, and then we'll discuss a little bit, and we'll go to we'll see how many verses we can cover. But let's start with chapter 1, text 1. Okay, so please repeat. Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharmashetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsava Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. So this is the first shloka. And the entire Bhagavad Gita, the only shloka spoken by Dhritarashtra. It's so interesting that most sacred conversation that Krishna particularly he wanted to give Arjun so that the generations to come can actually be empowered by this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. It is starting off with a person, Dhritarashtra, speaking. Right? Okay, we'll discuss that point. But what does this? Maybe someone can read the translation to this. Anyone like to? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do?
Okay, so we know the background of the Mahabharata. Okay, but we'll touch upon a few points just to see. The thing is, we want to get into Arjun's position as much as we can and see what he's going through, right? And then we can relish the knowledge that's coming in the Bhagavad Gita. So we'll discuss a little bit. But in this verse, what is Dhritarashtra asking? right? So Sanjay, right? Sanjay, he was actually empowered by Vyasadeva that even though they were in the palace, Sanjay could actually see what's happening in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And Dhritarashtra is asking Sanjay, right? Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre, right? That in this place known as Kurukshetra, right? Even now you can go to this place known as Kurukshetra, right? Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yutsav. Like both the armies have assembled on this place which is known as Kurukshetra. And then Mamakaha Pandavaschaya. My sons and the sons of Pandu. Right? And Kim Akurvat Sanjay. What did they do after that? And it's so interesting to think about this point. That it's like two big armies have come together on a battlefield and they are ready to fight. And the person asking, so what did they do? Like it just seems like it's a rhetorical question. Like, let's say like everyone is served with a nice plate of prasada, right? You have nice food in front of you. And then someone who's watching, and the food is right here, it's all served. And he asks, what did they do next? Isn't it obvious? They're going to eat it. And isn't it obvious that the armies who are assembled there are going to fight? But why is Dhritarashtra actually asking this question? Kim Akurvat, what did they do next? So are there any thoughts why Dhritarashtra is asking this question?
There is the times like Prabhu, in the analogy that you gave, the food, it is very obvious, we're all seeking for it. But it is a fight, so the stakes are high in that way.
Okay, so very nice point. So the first thing is the point of fear, right? So Dhritarashtra is fearful. And where is this fear coming from? Like if you see the background of the Mahabharata, right? So Dhritarashtra and Pandu, right? Brothers. So because Dhritarashtra was blind, and then Vidura is the third one, but because Dhritarashtra was blind, and though he was the elder one, Pandu was selected to become the king. Right? And then Dhritarashtra, like even at that point, he was feeling like so hurt. No, I should be the king. And emotionally inside, he always had that attachment. Actually, I am the king. The kingdom belongs to me. But after Pandu was actually established as a king, that's like, it is said in the Mahabharata that this entire, Kuru dynasty, the whole thing, they were so powerful that they actually conquered over the whole world. But when Pandu became the king, at that time, already the countries were like, claiming their own independence. They were actually going away. And Pandu, when he became the king, he said, no. He talked to Bhishma and said, we have to get everyone back on our side. We have to conquer the whole world. And he did it. Pandu traveled the whole world and he conquered the whole world. And then he said, yes, I've done it. But what was Pandu's mood? Pandu was like, even though he conquered the whole world, in his heart, he was not attached to like, a life of staying in a palace. In his heart, he was thinking, this palace life, I don't like it so much. He had that spirit of renunciation with it. So he stayed, after the victory, he stayed in the palace for a few months. But then he said, I'm going to the forest. For me, like the forest life, the life of renunciation, that's what I like. And he went to the forest. And at that time, he said, okay, Pandu has gone to the forest. Temporarily, Dhritarashtra, you play the role of a king. Just on behalf of Pandu, you be the king. Right? And then what happened in the forest? Well, the whole story, like how Pandu was cursed, right? And I'm going to details, like how he actually once shot a deer, and just at the time when they were mating, and then there happened to be a sage, and the sage cursed the king. He said, like the king, they go into the forest, they hunt, and that is to actually become expert in their warfare. That's all good. But you actually shot an arrow just to a deer just at a time when they were mating. That is not right. That is wrong on your part. And hence I curse you. The next time you try to unite with your wife, with the opposite sex, then you will die. Right? So when Kunti and Madri, the two queens heard this, they said, okay. And even Pandu at the time, he said, okay, now that's it. Vanaprastha ashram. And when Dhritarashtra and everyone there heard that this is what Pandu decided, then they said, okay, Dhritarashtra, you were playing behalf, but now it seems that you have to do the task of the king. But Dhritarashtra always had that I was not the first choice. I was never the first choice. And it's only circumstantially that they made me the king. And then after that, after Pandu could not resist once with his wife Madri, he immediately died. And the 5 sons were there before that, whole detail of Mahabharata. But after that, then the sons, the Pandavas, when they were young boys, they were brought into the palace. Right? And then they were under the care of Dhritarashtra. But even from that time, because Dhritarashtra had it in his heart, no, I should be the king. I was not the first choice. And he said, like, I want my sons to be the first choice. So even at that time, that emotional attachment that he had, that my sons, and so from starting, he was like favoring his sons and not in favor of the sons of Pandu. And why am I telling this whole background? Now the question comes that Dhritarashtra, because he was so attached that my son Duryodhan should be the king, that emotional attachment leads to fear. So that's the point that Suman Prabhu brought up. That the more you're attached to something, more there is fear of like, will I get it? And once I get it, will I lose it? And that's the story of our life. The more we are attached to material things externally, more we are emotionally attached, to position, to prestige. The more we are attached, the more fearful we are in our life. And that fear of Dhritarashtra is actually brought out in this verse, that he was fearful. Said like, what is going to happen? And another point to add to the fear is Dharmashetra Kurukshetra. That the war is taking place in a place, Kshetra, which is Dharma, which is a place which is known for its religious activities, which is known as a very religious place. So he was thinking that the war is happening in a religious place. So maybe because of the influence of that holy place, maybe it will give more advantage to the Pandavas. Or maybe because of the influence of the holy place, maybe the Kauravas may change their mind or something else will happen other than my emotional attachment. So he was fearful. And that's the situation of all of us. There's so much fear in this world. We're not like explicitly bring it out, but underneath that is all this fear in our heart. And that's all due to our attachments. Okay. Now we come to the next point. That Dhritarashtra, he's hearing the entire conversation of Bhagavad Gita. And Arjun is actually hearing the whole conversation of Bhagavad Gita. What is the difference? Dhritarashtra, even after hearing all the instructions, is there any change in his consciousness? Actually, throughout when Dhritarashtra was ruling, on behalf of Pandu, he was king. Vidura, he was like the best minister, right? And he used to speak right onto Dhritarashtra's face. This is wrong. Give up this attachment, right? And so many times he heard, but he could never accept those instructions. And even now, hearing that entire conversation of Bhagavad Gita, at the end, Arjun, what does he say? Nashta moha smriti labda. All my moha, my illusion is now nashta, is destroyed. Now I know exactly what I need to do. I am clear. My goal of life, my purpose of existence, what I need to do, it's all clear. I am going to do it right now. But Dhritarashtra, no change. So what is the difference? What points can we think? Why there was no change in Dhritarashtra and why Arjun actually went through the journey? Because I'm asking this question, because we are taking this journey of Bhagavad Gita. So we need to know what were the qualities that Arjun had that he actually accepted the transformation. We don't want to become like Dhritarashtra. Hear the whole Bhagavad Gita, but no change in our life. Right? Many times in India, they have this Bhagavad Katha. Right? And it's like, now it's become like, I shouldn't say fashion, but almost like, it's like a matter of prestige. Our family will do this Bhagavad Sapta, and they spend so much money, and like, it's a matter of prestige. Our family did it, and they do everything, and then invite people, good food. They invite like one of those speakers, who can really attract crowds, and the whole thing, right? And then people who attend, You ask them, how was it? Maja aaya. But is there any change in your life? I mean, and people don't even think there is a need for a change. So what use is the spiritual knowledge that's not bringing the transformation in the core of our heart? That is not breaking our false attachments and giving us the highest realization. What use is spiritual knowledge? So what is the difference? What should be our mood so that we can actually go through Arjun's journey, and at the end of the journey, we can say, Nashta Moha Smriti Labda. All my moha is now gone. Now I know exactly what to do in my life. I know how to lead my life, which is in the best interest of me. So Artha, it says Swartha Gatim Hi Vishnu, right? What is the best? How can I lead my life in such a way which is the best thing for me? We don't even know, right? We just think that society is telling that this is the best way to live, and hence, but is that really the best way? We don't think, right? So coming back to the question, how should we approach Bhagavad Gita so that we can actually go through that transformation? What points can you think of? Feel free to share anything that comes to your mind. Do you want to approach Bhagavad Gita as Dhritarashtra or as Arjuna?
As Arjuna.
Okay, so what was special about Arjun that he could? Okay. Okay. So first point is he actually accepted that yes, the knowledge that is coming here is something that is useful for me, something that I need. If we think our life is all perfect, everything good, just recently we are hearing in this Bhagavatam, which is next level to Bhagavad Gita. It's just like, an example is given of a deer in the forest. The deer in the forest, it is like, may think that now my life is perfect. It's nice, beautiful forest. There's a nice, beautiful lake here. And then I have my family, my female deer, some children. And then there is some nice bees buzzing, nice music, right? Bollywood music. Nice bees are buzzing, and nice fragrance. Everything is perfect. And Bhagavatam compares us to that deer. Why? Because deer thinks everything is good, but does not realize two things. One is what? There is a hunter who's standing right there behind. Anytime the hunter can shoot the arrow. And what is the other thing? There are dangerous animals in the forest. There's like wolves and tigers, and anytime they can attack the deer. And what these two things relate to our life?
Yeah.
One is the hunter's arrow is compared to death. Any moment that can come. Right? Is there any guarantee that next Saturday, I don't want to create what is the reality of life? How can we deny? So any moment that can come. And what about the wild animals? Time is compared to time. Right? So even if there's no untimely death, we have a long life, but still time is taking away our life. Old age, white hairs, back pain, this pain, all those things are coming. Can't deny. So anyway, so coming back to the point, that Arjun actually thought that yes, that is a need. I need to understand this knowledge. I need to know what is the best way of living. I am thinking, and we'll see further in the first chapter, he gives this reason, this reason, this reason why he should not fight. And said, okay, that's it, Krishna. I'm not going to fight. Right? He says that clearly. Govinda, I shall not fight. And he thinks that's the best thing for him. But still, he's like, is this really the best thing? Let me ask. And he was actually looking for an answer. He was looking for higher knowledge, higher spiritual knowledge that can actually give him the real answer that this is the best way of living. Okay? So first point is Arjun was looking for transformation. He wasn't in that position of the deer where he thinks everything is perfect. No. The nature of this material world is there is going to be problems. There is going to be anxiety. There is time. And then death will come eventually. That's the nature of the world. So we should question, how can I live my life in the best way possible? Right? The best way possible. So that look for change. Like normally people don't like to change, right? Change, this is like most difficult to change. But a human form of life is meant to change for the best. But looking for what is the best way, what is the next step can I take so that I am living the best of my life, right? So looking for that transformation. So that's one point. And Mataji also mentioned the point that accepting authority. So Prabhupada in the introduction, he actually makes a point. Okay, even if you don't accept Krishna as the supreme personality, like we'll come later on to that point, but Prabhupada said at least theoretically accept that yes, this knowledge has been going on for generations, like for 5,000 years, this knowledge has been spoken, repeated, so many people are appreciating. Yes, there is something in this knowledge. There is some, Prabhupada may at least theoretically accept that Krishna is God and accept the instruction. And later on, you can question that, and then we'll see what is the answer to that. But at least theoretically accept the authority of Krishna. That what knowledge he's giving, that is good for me. So one is the need for transformation, and second is to accept the authority, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Have faith in this knowledge that yes, this knowledge is beneficial for me. Okay, good points. What else can we think of? Arjun's attitude to approach Bhagavad Gita. Any other points?
He was confused.
Yeah, he was confused, so he was looking for an
Yeah,
answer. Yes, he was looking for an answer. Okay. That's kind of similar to our first point that he was looking for a solution.
Even being in Grahastha, how you can perform your duties and still be spiritual. That's
Yeah.
what he questioned Krishna,
Okay.
and he got his answers.
Nice. Okay. So even though we are involved with so many worldly duties, how can we actually address our spiritual calling, our spiritual needs? Okay. So that question comes later on. Arjun specifically asked this question. Right?
He is curious also.
He's curious. Okay. Yeah, he wants to know that inquisitiveness, right? Inquisitiveness. Okay. Very nice.
He was not envious of Krishna.
Okay, so that we can relate it to a point that he was accepting Krishna as an authority, right? He was accepting Krishna. And this is just an open question. I don't have this is the final answer, but you're bringing nice points. But I want everyone to think, this is an important, we are starting this journey. What is our mood in starting the journey? What is really important that, okay, we are taking the journey with this mood. So what points we came up? First is we are willing to change. We feel that yes, this human form of life is there, and there is a particular sequence the society tells us this, but that is something beyond. I want to understand that. I want to grow in my life. I need to know what is the best way to live. And finally we'll come to the point, what is true dharma? What is my way of activity? Right? What is the way of living? Right? First is the inquisitiveness. Second point is we are accepting, at least theoretically, that yes, this knowledge is beneficial for me. We are accepting Krishna as the authority. So at least with these 2 points, let's address the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So let's, any comments or any questions of this one?
Maybe he also want to know why we are doing this, why,
Yeah.
what.
I mean, that's that's a point that we hesitate to ask, right?
Yeah.
Especially growing up in Indian background, this family tradition, this ritual, just do it. Don't ask why. I mean, even I was growing up in, the pious background, going to temple, doing all these pujas, but there's no question of philosophy. Like, who talks of philosophy? I mean, go for arti, have prasadam, do all these ceremonies, just do it. Everyone else does it, even I should do it. No one asked the why question. Like one of other devotees, he was telling his experience that he went to the first time to the ISKCON temple. And even he grew up in a very pious family background. And he went to a temple and he had been attending so many artis and so many ceremonies. And he went to a temple and the devotee at the temple asked him, you have been coming for so many years, like, going to so many temples. So you attended the Aarti, right? Yeah, he said, yeah, it was nice Aarti. Do you know the meaning of Aarti? And all of a sudden, this devotee said, like, whole life I have been attending Aarti. I do not know the meaning of Aarti. And actually, there's a deeper meaning of Aarti. Like if you see Rati, that the second part where it talks of Rat, that is like darkness or night. So Arati is something that is bringing one from darkness to light. That ceremony that will awaken light in our heart and remove the darkness of ignorance. That is Arati. So when he heard that answer, he's like, wow, that's so wonderful. I've been attending Aarti just as a ritual, but I never knew that what the deeper significance. But we actually approach Aarti with that we are doing the ceremony because all the darkness in our heart, we want to remove that and bring in the light of bhakti, of Krishna consciousness. So anyway, the point of asking the why question, why we are doing what we are doing. That's what it is. Yes, ma'am.
Should I want to follow what your Gita says? I want to follow in my life, that in daily life, not want to listen.
Not onto what?
I don't know. Everybody is listening. I am also listening, but we are not following
Yes.
life, every daily life.
To ha-
Daily
yeah.
life and every time. So I will try to follow
Yes.
every time, every day.
Wonderful. So that is the right mood. That we say, like, yes, it's not that hearing from one ear and then after we got, but actually saying, okay, what did we hear and how we can implement in our day-to-day life. That's a nice approach to, approach the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so good. Anything else? Okay, let's proceed. We'll read few more verses. So first the verse Dhritarashtra spoke, and now we'll see what happens. So Sanjay is going to answer. Sanjay Vacha. Next. Drishtva tu Panduvanikam Yudhyam Duryodhanastada Acharyam Upasangamya Raja Vachanam Abraved. Okay, so someone can read. Maybe some Mataji would like to read translation.
Sanjaya said, "Okay, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhan went to his teacher and spoke the following words."
Right, so Sanjay is here now narrating, like Dhritarashtra asked, what did they do? And then now he's saying that how Duryodhan, and particularly here it says Raja, it is referring to Duryodhan as Raja, they actually point out. So if you see Sanjay also, one way Sanjay knows the outcome of the battlefield. One way even Dhritarashtra knows, but he doesn't want to accept it. But Sanjay knows, and he's already pointing out, you're thinking your son is going to be the king? See, that's not going to happen, but he's just saying, oh Raja, the king actually when Duryodhan went to, so one way you can say he's giving hope, but at the same time, now we'll see that how he's saying that actually there is no hope, okay. And he went to his, after looking over the army arranged in military formations by the son of Pandu, King Duryodhan went to his teacher, who is Dronacharya here, right? And he spoke the following words, right? So now you have Duryodhan speaking. Okay. Pashaitam Pandu Putranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tava Shishena Dhimata. Someone from behind would like to read? Translation.
O my teacher, behold the great army of the son of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligence, dispel the son of Drupada.
So Duryodhan he's an expert politician. Prabhupada makes a point, right? Expert at diplomacy. So he's going to Dronacharya, and what is he saying? See the army arranged by And he particularly says, your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. So what is he trying to do now? See, Dronacharya, like Dronacharya and Bhishma, both they have this natural affection for the Pandavas. Even Duryodhana knows that. But now he's actually saying that you actually, so we know the story of how Drupad and Dronacharya, they're actually close friends. But then after Drupad became the king, he actually, one way, like, like he was supposed to give half of the kingdom, but when Dronacharya came and asked, he kind of just shooed him away that way. You're just a Brahmana, And then that way there was this enmity between the two. And then, so after Dronacharya trained the Pandavas and the Kauravas, right? And then they actually had to give their Guru Dakshina. Then he actually asked them to bring Drupada, go and defeat Drupada and bring him here. Right? And then Duryodhan went, but they failed miserably. And then the Pandavas went and they actually captured Drupada and brought him. And after this whole thing, Drupada was released, but then Drupada was so angry, he wanted to take revenge. And he did this whole sacrifice. He says, I want a son that will kill Dronacharya. Right? And then who was born? Who was born from the sacrifice? Draupadi and Drishtadyumna. So that son, he was born just for the purpose that he will kill Dronacharya. And then later on, when Drishtadyumna, imagine this, Drishtadyumna went, he wanted to learn military science. Who did he go to? Imagine, like, everyone knows that this person is born just to kill him, and he went to Dronacharya to seek that education. But the quality of a Brahmana is, if someone appreciates you for knowledge, even that person is actually born just to kill you, you give that knowledge. That's the quality of a Brahmana. He's liberal, right? And with Dronacharya, he gave that knowledge to Drishtadyumna. And now Drishtadyumna is on the side of Pandavas, and he has arranged that entire military formation. So now Duryodhana is actually saying, you have been so liberal. You gave knowledge to Drishtadyumna, and he is the one who's arranged this. Now please don't be liberal. I know you have affection for Pandavas, but now give up all that affection. Now you really fight with the Pandavas. Put your entire thing to fight. So he's kind of invoking his, one way, his enmity to Drupada. Kshatriyas, they have this thing like, if you've seen Mahabharata and Ramayana, like that B.R. Chopra's series. Before two Kshatriyas come and they start fighting, first thing, they'll speak bad words to each other. Like bad words in a sense, not like this culture bad words, but words that will actually invoke that, oh, you are useless. What is your strength in front of me? And that way they incite the anger of the other person, so that then they can fight with their full strength. Like Kshatriya culture. So one way he's actually invoking that anger. The Dronacharya, now no leniency, no affection for Pandavas. You gave this knowledge, but no more mistakes. Now just fight. Right? So that way Duryodhana is. Okay. Text 4. Atra Sura Mahesh Asha Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharataha. Continue. Anyone?
Here, here in this army are many heroic women equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna. Great fighters like Yuyudhana, Virata, and Drupada.
So again, he's mentioning Drupada. The great fighters like Drupada. Again, he's bringing that spirit of, that Kshatriya spirit in Dronacharya. And then, next few verses is like listing, oh, who is there? So let's just read the translation. Let's just go ahead. Next, text 6, text 5 translation.
There are also great heroic, powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitan, Kasiraj, Purujit, Kuntibol, and Agya.
Okay, next.
There are the mighty Vidhamanyu, the very powerful Uttamaja, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters.
Okay, so one way up to this point, Duryodhana has pointed out what? That so many powerful personalities on the other side, right? But now he's saying, now see who is on our side, right? So that's the next verse. Okay, go ahead.
But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force.
Okay, next.
There are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwatthama, Vikrana, and the son of Somadatta called Burishrava, who are always victorious in battle.
Right, so he's already assuring that all these people are so powerful, Samitim Jayaha, that every time when they fight, they are victorious in battle. So our side is so strong. So he's a king, he has to do the diplomacy. He'll say, they are there, but see our side. They're so powerful. We are going to win, right? So that's the move. And we are going a little fast here. And then, because it's just setting the background. And then when we go into the other, where the philosophy starts, right? There's one sampradaya, they say Bhagavad Gita starts from second chapter. They say because that's where the instructions really start. So a little bit will go fast. I can text 9.
There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons and all are experienced in military science.
There's so many Anyecha Bhava. So many people are there. Right? They are ready to fight for me. They will die for me. Right? That is my strength. Okay. Text 10.
Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas carefully protected by Bhima is limited.
So he's saying that, from our side, Bhishma Pitama. And what is the power of Bhishma Pitama? Imagine, actually he has conquered death, right? He has this Ichha Mrityu, that whenever he wants to die, he will die. Now, if there's such a person on the other side, what is the hope on our side, what is the hope for the other side to win? Right? You can shoot as many arrows on him. So I don't want to die. So he's saying we are so powerful. Our strength is immeasurable. And compared to Bhishma, what is Bhima? Right? So Duryodhana always has that envy for Bhima. What is Bhima? He is nothing. Right? So their strength is immeasurable. Their strength is limited, but our strength is immeasurable. 11.
All of you must now give full support to grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategy point of entrance into the phalanx of the army.
So basically now he's come to Dronacharya, he's praised Bhishma, he's pointed out few of his strong people, but he's saying that some people I didn't mention the names, they should not feel left out. So he's saying that all of you here are important. You have to support Bhishma. Bhishma may be involved in a war, he's fighting one side, and then maybe the Pandavas try to capture the other side. So everyone is important. All of you have an important role to play. Right? Okay, go ahead.
That Bhishma, the great valiant grandson of Kuru dynasty, the grandmother of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like a roar of a lion, giving a Drona joy.
Duryodhan joy. So after Duryodhan spoke to Dronacharya, he glorified Bhishma, he said all these people. Then actually Acharya say at that time he was going and he wanted to go and talk to Bhishma also. But Bhishma already knew Duryodhan's mind. So even before giving a chance to talk, he blew his conch. He said, let's just start fighting. I know the mind of Duryodhan. Let's just start fighting. So he blew his conch shell and he blew it so loud that Duryodhan felt like, victory on our side. But Acharyas also, they point out, actually he used a conch shell, right? And conch shell is a symbol of what? Victory. But whose symbol is it? Of Vishnu. Right? Vishnu's one of the symbol is. And where is Vishnu? On the other side. So Acharyas point out, he's using the symbol of the other side to point out that we will win. So that's already a sign that there is no chance of, no hope for the Kauravas to actually win. So, okay, next.
After that, the conchial drums, flutes, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tremendous.
Tumultuous. Yeah. So now we see, so up to now, text 13, right? Duryodhan has talked, right? We see Bhishma has blown the conch shell. Now we see the entrance of Krishna and Arjuna, right? Okay, go ahead. Let's see, maybe we can read the Sanskrit. Tata Shweter sorry. Tata Shweter Hayer Yukte Mahati Sandane Stito Madhava Pandavaschaiva Divyo Shanko Pradhamuto.
After this side, good Lord, Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on the great chariot, drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conscience.
Tata Shweter Hayer. So Hayer is the horses. And what kind of horses? Shwet. Shweta means white horses, right? We see in India there's some temples where they have this, 5 horses, right? And Krishna and Arjuna. So 5 horses, white horses. And then it says Madhava Pandavaschaiva. Lord Krishna along with Pandava. Pandavaschaiva here referring to Arjun. And then Divyo Shanko. Right? So previously there was a Shank described, but here is said their Shanka is Divya, completely spiritual or transcendental, conscious. They actually blew their conscious. So, like when we are reading the Bhagavad Gita, it's good to visualize the scene. Put yourself in the position of Arjun. Like not just like one reading is you're just going through, but here you're actually, going deep into it. So you can visualize the scene. Okay, one side, big army. And how many people were in the battlefield of Kurukshetra?
Millions and millions.
640 million. Can you imagine? That is twice the population of US, right? 640 million were assembled on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So huge armies on both sides. And that time the armies were measured in terms of Akshuhini. So one Akshuhini is like 64,000 chariots, 64,000 elephants, and they have all these descriptions. So how many Akshuhini on Pandava's side and how many Akshuhini on Kaurava's side? Anyone knows? 7, right? So see, Kaurava's side, they had 11 Akshuhini, like 11 times this number is what I said. And on Pandava's side, it was only 7. Right? So 11 to 7, right? So with 640 million. And then in between that, we have these beautiful white horses. And Krishna and Arjuna right there blowing their conch shell. Right? And the next few verses it just talks about other people blowing their conch shell. So go ahead very quickly, just read the next few verses. And I want to end with one important theme. We started with one important theme. We want to end with one very practical theme. So just read next few verses quickly.
Lord Krishna blew his conch shell for Panchajanya, Arjun blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the ferocious eater and performer of gruesome tasks, blew his terrific conch shell for them.
Yeah, so next few verses is who blew what kind of conch shell. So what is Krishna's conch shell known as? So there's a whole story. You won't go into the story with Panchajanya. Arjun blew Devadatta, Bhima, he actually blew Paumra. Okay, go ahead. Next verse also is all about conch shells.
King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakula and Sahadeva blew the Sugosha and Manipushpaka. The great archer, the king of Kasi, the great fighter, Sikandi, Yustajumya, Virata, the unconquerable, Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells.
Okay, next.
The blowing of these different conch shells become uproarings, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the son of Dhritarashtra.
So this our teacher actually made the point. So when on the side of the Kauravas there was blowing of conch shell, there was no mention that how the Pandavas reacted. But when on the Pandava side, when the conch shell was blown, it shattered the hearts of No,
Dhritarashtra.
Dhritarashtra, right? So it already says like they were in spite that they were only 7 to 11, but when they blew their conch shell, all on this side said, no chance. Okay. And now let's see. Now is the important thing. Okay, next verse.
At that time, Arjun, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjun then spoke to Lord Krishna these words.
The first shloka that Arjun is speaking here, text number 21. Arjuna Uvacha Senayor Ubayor Madhye Ratham Stapaya Mechuta Yavat Etan Niriksheham Yuddho Kaman Avastitan Kermaya Saha Yodhavyam Asmin Rana Samudyame.
O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of on.
Okay. So then Arjun not know who is there on the other side? Yes. So why at that moment he's actually saying, oh Krishna, please draw my chariot. Senayor Ubayor Madhye. In between the two armies, I want to see who is there on the other side. Why did Arjun take this pause? I mean, the whole conversation will happen then, but why is Arjun taking this pause? Are there like doubts in his mind? If you think about up to this point, like you're reading the whole story of Mahabharata, throughout the entire story of Mahabharata, you'll see how the Pandavas were again and again and again oppressed. And you're reading the Mahabharata and it's like, oh, this is not fair. This is not fair. Every time everything happens and you feel like, why the Pandavas have to go through so much suffering? The gambling match was all cheating. And then imagine like Draupadi being disrobed in the assembly. At that time, what could be more worse than that? And then they have to stay in the forest 12 years plus 1 year of incognito. These are kings. And they have to stay in the forest. So throughout, if you see so much injustice, and then finally now it's come to the point that, okay, now you can take your revenge. And for Kshatriya to get that opportunity to fight, it's like a blessing. So much we waited, to get the justice, but it never happened. But now is the time, let's get justice. So if you put yourself in the position of Arjun, what would be your reaction? Like imagine like someone has like throughout the life, there's all these like difficulties, and now finally you get the okay, now I can make a complete solution to that. You would jump right into it. Arjun should have said, okay, now is the time. Let me see whom should I attack first. That should be his first thing. But why is he pausing? Why is he stop? And that is actually a very important lesson for us. Because of circumstances, there'll be so many problems in our life. There'll be all these ups and downs. It's certainly because of our karma, but it could be last life karma, who knows? But there will be certain circumstances, there will be difficulties. Now, when problems come to our life, how do we deal with it? First of all, we see how can I just like fix it, right? Or is there a way I can push it aside and continue with my life? But the whole theme that Arjun is actually saying, take my chariot in between the two armies. He's not, even throughout, I will read further also, Arjun says, can I escape this whole thing? Krishna is saying, no, don't escape the problem. And think about problems that we face in our life. Do we try to just escape it? Or do we actually take a pause and say, okay, this has happened. What can I learn from it? Can I actually be introspective at this time? Can I reflect and can I question at this time? And Arjun is doing just that. Yes, there are so many circumstances, all these injustices have happened. But before I take an action, can I take a moment and think about what has happened and what am I going to do? And this is such an important lesson. They say there's a statistics. They say from age 0 to 25. It says as the age increases, it says to that extent, proportionately, the wisdom increases. In one sense, it's like you're going through your school, this education, you're learning so many things. So up to 25 is understandable. But they say 25 to 75, that statement is no longer valid. It's not that if you're 50, you are actually more learned than one who is 30. Like this is not my analysis. This is like, the people from different science department or psychology department, they have done this entire study. And they made the point that between 25 and 75, yeah, we all go through so many experiences. But who is the person who becomes wise? Who actually, when he goes through an experiences, who takes the time to reflect on those experiences. So it's not just the age that you're going through all these experiences of life that makes you wise. But after going through an experience, you are actually pausing your button. You're introspective, you're reflecting, saying, why? Normally we ask, something bad happens. Why is this happening to me? Like even, we take up Krishna consciousness, we try to take up bhakti, and then something happens and immediately, Krishna, why me? I was chanting my rounds so nicely, why me? We actually always say, why me? But instead of asking why me, can we turn around and take a pause and say, okay, this is what has happened. What can I learn from this? Right? Can I be introspective? And can I ask some questions? A human form of life is meant for asking questions. Ask questions. What can I learn from this? What is Krishna trying to teach me from this? And they say like from 25 to 75, those who actually stop after any situation and reflect back, they are the ones who are gaining wisdom, not the other ones who are just going through all the different experiences. It's very interesting, right? And how many times do we go through? Like, I was just thinking about this point, that sometimes it's just like small things that may trigger some, anger or some, it's like, oh, why this happened? Like simple. And we just like kind of like deal with it and say like, okay, I just want to shoo it away. It happened, but let me focus somewhere else. Let me go to Facebook, like take my mind off it, or But instead of that, can we say, okay, it happened. What can I learn from this? What happened? Why did my mind feel this way? And what is it that triggered it? And what do I learn so that next time I can face it in the right way? So, anyway, we'll stop here. So we started with the point of the theme of like Dhritarashtra receiving knowledge and Arjun receiving knowledge. So what is the difference? And how can we prepare our consciousness to go through the journey? We don't want to read Bhagavad Gita like Dhritarashtra. In and out, no change. No. We want to go through that journey that Arjun went. And at the end of Bhagavad Gita, we should be Nashta Moha Smriti Labda. All our illusion is over. We know this is the way, this is my goal, this is the best thing for me. I know how to act. That's the way we want to approach Bhagavad Gita. And we pointed out with Dhritarashtra, we talked about his attachments, how the emotional attachment that causes so much fear and it blocks us. It blocks us from actually taking up that journey of transformation. So at least now we are in this journey. You can think about, okay, now I'm here. There's an opportunity to dive into nectar of Bhagavad Gita. So much to learn, empower my life, just transform my life for the best. Let me approach in the right way. Let me approach in a way that I am willing to actually accept this change from the Bhagavad Gita. Right? That is the first thing. And then we talked about like the flow of the Bhagavad Gita, a few points about how Duryodhana is approaching Dronacharya, and then what does he say? And people on this side, people on that side. And then we ended with this very important theme of when a situation comes to our life, can we actually press the pause button, think about it, reflect, introspect, see what is Krishna teaching me from this situation? What do I learn? You know, and that way we empower ourselves. And sometimes in a journey, when you stop and you ask, and you may go through something, you'll feel the need of like, yeah, I see there is this lesson, but maybe I should talk to someone who has more spiritual knowledge to actually really imbibe the lesson. So that questioning spirit. Yeah. So that's our theme for today. So we'll continue next time into the journey of Bhagavad Gita. And today we went a little fast through the shlokas, but next time we'll go deeper and deeper into nectar. And it's amazing. If you go through the entire journey, your life will not be the same. You'll be like so empowered. It's just like the more you read Bhagavad Gita, like the other day, so like last Friday, not this Friday, someone came to me and said, like, Bhagavad Gita, I've been hearing from childhood. I know Bhagavad Gita. Why read again? It's like the saying that the moment you say that I know Bhagavad Gita, that means you don't know Bhagavad Gita. There is so much. Every time you read Bhagavad Gita, so much nectar, so much to learn. And you get deeper and deeper realizations from the Bhagavad Gita. It is living knowledge. It's knowledge that breathes, you say. One of our teachers, he has this channel, wisdom that breathes. That means it's like living. As we get purified, we are progressing in our spiritual journey. We will read the same text, but deeper and deeper realizations. Like yesterday, I think Mataji was there for the class. Like we were talking of Vrindavan theme, importance of going to Vrindavan, holy place. And we saw the Bhagavad Gita from the perspective of importance of going to Vrindavan. And it's so beautiful. You can see Bhagavad Gita from any perspective, and so much nectar is there in the Gita. So this is our, how we say, Mad Eka Bandhu Mat Sangin. This is our real friend. So make Bhagavad Gita your life. And Bhagavad Gita will empower you in ways that is beyond your imagination. And your life will be just transformed for the best. This is so beautiful, the Gita. So, but thank you all so much. So thank you all. So nice to have all of you. And please share. You can share this message about this program to your friends. Anyone in Holy Springs, Verina, anyone in this area, please share. It's like when we actually give others the opportunity to come discuss Bhagavad Gita, it's for the best of everyone. How we say, sharing is caring. You care for someone, share this knowledge, right? So invite others, invite your friends, let them come, be a part. Let's discuss Bhagavad Gita, Saturday evening. If you don't come and do this, then time anyway will go away. You do this, house, this will be needed, all those things. But let's take a break. Come Saturday evening and let's just dive into the nectar of Bhagavad Gita. It is so amazing. You'll be happy that you actually took this journey. Okay, so thank you all so much. Let's see any questions, reflections, questions. Like at the end of this talk, I always like everyone please think. If you walk out and someone asks you, what was the whole discussion about? What is that one point you would say? What is your one take-home point from today? So everyone please think, and then you can quickly share. I normally do this like rapid fire round, or whatever you call it. Everyone just quickly, one point you can share what you really like. And you always repeat the same point. It's okay. We have to admit that we have Kalyug memories that unless we hear by repetition, we forget the point. So
Yes, Sato.
yes.
The quick point is that any situation comes in, we take a pause and think about it and learn from it. That's the thing I just take it home.
Nice. Okay. Nothing.
Prabhuji, from the childhood, I have that question. In our Shastra, if you follow that the right thing is that the king will be the Dhritarashtra because he is the big brother.
Yeah.
Even though he is blind, but rules, if you follow the rules, then Dhritarashtra will be the king. But he is blind. Because of this, Pandu
Was
became
established as a king. Yes.
But after that, when after death, who will be the king? Actually, rules is that Dhritarashtra's sons will be the king if you follow the right rules. So why Pandu? If you follow the rules, then this is a thing.
No, but because,
But
but again, one may question that. See, all this what points you're saying, it is actually there in the Dharma Shastras. Like everything that we discuss, who should be the king, or this is, okay, this king, he should be the king, but this problem is there, hence who should take over. There's a whole Dharma Shastra. Like we have no knowledge of how these intricate rules of politics and all those things work. But because Dhritarashtra was the king on behalf of Pandava, so then there was a thing that, okay, who should be? But out of that, Yudhishthir was eldest of all the sons, So when the Pandavas actually came, Dhritarashtra, if he was not spiritually blind, he should have treated both the sons of Pandavas and the sons of Pandu and his own sons with that equal vision. Because they came under his shelter. So if he was truly like a spiritual, like a just person, he would have seen no difference between the sons of Pandu and his own sons. And among them, who's the eldest? Right. So anyway, all this is like very intricate politics and all those things. But as the story goes, actually, Yudhishthir was he had the rightful claim to become the next king.
the Pandu was the king because of Dhritarashtra. Is it or not?
No. Actually, Pandu was just selected because Dhritarashtra is blind. Pandu, you are the king, not on behalf. Because Dhritarashtra was not qualified because he's blind, Pandu is the king. Was the king. And then one need not go into.
I can't understand.
One need not that point is like, one need not spend too much of one's mind to keep thinking about this point. Because the way the entire thing, one way you can see is Krishna has arranged the whole situation in such a way that finally, what does he want to do? Yada yada hi dharmasya. He wants to establish dharma. And when Krishna comes, you'll see in different incarnations, when he comes, what is the one system that Krishna always touches and makes sure that that system is corrected? Is the system of politics. For sure, he'll see who is the king. I want to establish the right king. And of that, Yudhishthir is Dharma Raj, who can be a better king than Yudhishthir. So for sure, Krishna wanted to establish, yes, Yudhishthir has to be the king. And for that, the entire Mahabharata, this entire war, Krishna wanted to establish Dharma and destroy Adharma. Right? So that is the main point. So one need not get too much into the details of like this politics, because we are not aware of the details of Dharma Shastra. And I don't know where you can access all those details also. But let's see the theme behind the story of the Mahabharata. What is the underlying point? What is the point that Krishna wants to really bring about? So that's what you should.
I want to add something here. I heard somewhere that this whole Mahabharata, why Krishna arranged in such a way to show all the people to learn something from it. Because in India, in each kingdom, if you see, we had so many wars. Not only Mahabharata, we have like Chola Samrajya.
Yeah.
In
So
South, we
many
have
battlefields,
battles.
yeah.
And
Yes.
nowadays also, if we see in politics, we have, because of like people wants their sons to be in charge of the all the political party destroyed. Maybe if you are aware in Maharashtra, Shiv Sena, we have this situation. It's like, I feel like it's same kind of Mahabharata. So in a such a way, Krishna did that to give lessons. And even in India, in our villages also, every houses have battles between the brothers.
Mahabharata is going inside everyone's house.
Yeah, so I mean, Krishna wants to learn something from it to
Yes.
avoid such things. Look, what has happened already.
So
If you
yeah.
do the same part, you
Very
can
nice
follow
point.
the Ramayana.
Yeah.
I mean, so how things
I
should
mean,
be
that's the key point, that this entire story is there, and what is the underlying point? What can we actually learn? What is Krishna trying to teach us? That's the main point through all these wars.
Right. I mean,
Once I was just going to say that once we're giving a Bhagavad Gita, my family said, no, I don't want to keep Bhagavad Gita at home. Why? Mahabharata will happen at home.
I have another reason, sorry for that. I've been listening him that Prabhuji, that in our home, means every family has like that adharma, dharma, like you can like this is it will be like that. Every family also is like that. Every houses, every family, like
It's
the
like she's asking like the people of that mindset are always like Yudhishthir, Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, that mindset people are always there in all the houses.
In all the houses. Is that your realization? No, what they say is, see, if you see Duryodhana and Yudhishthir, they were like the opposites, but in the same family. So actually, every yuga, they say, like the pious people and the impious. Like initially, they were on like actually different planets. Right? That was in Satya Yuga. In now it was Treta Yuga. Treta Yuga, there were different countries, like Lord Ramchandra and then Ravan. Right? Then in Dwapar Yuga, right? They were actually in the same family. Now in Kali Yuga, what is the situation? In our heart. Both are there. But who will actually take precedence? What is the qualities that we will bring out? Is the person who we are feeding in our heart. If we are feeding our consciousness, we are hearing, we are observing all those natures of Duryodhan-like personalities, that qualities of like violence, of injustice, then that's the voice that's going to speak out. That's what's going to become our character. But if we are absorbing ourselves with this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, with pious knowledge, then that's our character. That's what builds our character. Okay, so 9:15. I don't want to go after 9:15, but I wanted to do a rapid round. But anyone else has very quick point? Questions if you have, we can take in next class also. But
I like how you said that participate in the journey.
become
Shoes of Arjuna.
Hunter comparison with death.
Hunter comparison with that. The deer, the whole deer thing. So as we meditate, we feel like everything is good, but we don't realize it.
Surrenderness and detaching the ownership, like he detached, like now he cannot do anything. That's why he was surrendered to Krishna, and then he was ready to accept the knowledge.
Yes, what is the mood we approach Bhagavad Gita, having those qualities, right? Yes.
Ask questions why instead of just accepting what
Yeah.
is going on. You see it, people doing repeatedly.
I mean, that's like
Joining, just ask them.
that's a big thing for Indians. It's like everyone just does it because.
showing off.
I mean, showing off is a different level, but you just do it because of like maybe fear. I think in Indians it's a lot like, oh, if I don't do this, then maybe something bad will happen to a family. That's all. Either fear or it is asking something. If I do this, then I'll get new Tesla car. What is it? Y model, S model? Like it's a return in, so either it is wanting something or doing it out of fear. But, these two are lower levels, but you go higher, it's out of duty, and finally it's out of love. We'll come to that later, but asking the why question. Showing off is actually below all this. If you're doing things that just so that people see how I am so religious. That's nothing. Anyone else?
At the start of the first day of the Bhagavad Gita, as you're going through, like hopefully by the end, our illusion, like what we have, goes away, right?
I mean, it's so
Yeah,
powerful
like,
journey. It's really.
Surrender like Arjuna, right?
Yeah.
Complete surrender, right? Which is so difficult. Every time you have a realization when you go through Bhagavad Gita and you learn something new, but like as you said, right? So
Yeah.
hope for the best.
I mean, you have to, like now we are Actually, I should mention this. So we are discussing Bhagavad Gita. We are soon starting like a reading call so that while we are discussing, you can also read. So this is going to be Monday through Thursday, 9 to 9:30 on a Zoom call. Monday through Thursday evening. So Mataji is here, Radha Shakti Mataji, and then Sukriti Mataji. Like few devotees will be just there to coordinate. But we're going to start that soon. I have not sent out the message, but I encourage, like while we are discussing, if you're also reading, then you can, okay, at this point we read, oh, here the point is coming up. Then it comes really into our consciousness. So we'll start this soon. We'll send out the message, 9 to 9:30, Monday to Thursday. It is a Zoom call. You can join in, read Bhagavad Gita, and there'll be a little bit discussion time for question and answers. But along with Friday and the Saturday, we'll have that in addition. So. Okay, let's stop here. Unless someone has like a burning point they want to share. Huh?
Bhagavad Gita is my way of life, believing not. It's beneficial for me.
Oh,
And
wonderful. We'll end with that.
share this knowledge with others.
Share with them. So please spread this word. In your communities, you may have like local groups, WhatsApp group where they actually say, so you can share anyone who's interested. Maybe there's someone in a community who's like, I always wanted to read Bhagavad Gita. You find so many people actually. I always wanted to know Bhagavad Gita, but never got the chance. Maybe they get your message and it's like, okay, this is the chance. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.